serendipity always plays very, very heavily in my life. Today's New York Times, there is an article on "We may be born with an urge to help." This is in the science section. And I think that there are some of us that maybe want to help more than other people want to help, but we're all, somehow it seems, according to biologists, imbued with a sense or an urge to help people out, even from when we're children. And I think that's how I started. When I was a small child, not that small, 8th grade, I was teaching swimming to little tadpoles at the YMCA. And I remember it was sort of an epiphany, I guess, at one point where there was a little boy who was very afraid of the water. And I was able to get him away from that fear by kind of supporting him and holding him up while he learned how to dog paddle. And once he got going, you'd watch the smile come across his face. And I remember that moment that was an interesting thing to be able to do. I'm really not interested in the notion that I have to be turning out artists in my profession. I think you're either an artist or you're not. Everybody's probably an artist, but in the visual arts, the specific discipline that I'm involved in, I believe has a limited number of people who are going to pursue it. What I think I'm more interested in is how people become creative in their life, and to sort of unlock in those people who've forgotten how to become playful, who've forgotten the basic sort of procedures for how to kind of loosen up and think outside of the box, as we're fond of saying. And that's also my other role, I think, is to take those who still have those abilities to kind of encourage them and kind of help facilitate, going farther and deeper into the idea of the creative process. I'm more interested in how people are going to turn out as people than I am in whether they're going to be artists or not. I think it's providing, in my own way, through assignments, where I try to create assignments that I think are going to be a little unusual or outside of their comfort zone of how they're going to approach a problem. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, having to make a pair of shoes that contains poetry somehow in the shoe is an interesting idea, I think, and one that there's two very dissimilar ideas there. There's a physical manifestation of having to make a shoe, and then there's also this idea of poetry, which is a word. It's not a physical thing except if it's on a page. And kind of gluing those things together, literally sometimes gluing them together. That would be one way that I would be doing it. The other way, I think, is through discussion. And I think at this point, hopefully I've seen enough of the world to be able to make connections between what students are doing and this pan-human experience that we're all involved in. We've been making things since 7,000 years ago, and that's an important thing to be able to acknowledge and continue. One of the things that I'm really happy about, I think, is that my students don't do work that looks anything like mine. I just reviewed a bunch of pieces last night with my Sculpture 2 class. I kept looking at it, it's hard to find maybe one or two over the last couple of decades that kind of emulated something that I did, but mostly I try to find a way for students to find their own voices and work within that.